Chicago Bulls. Me, C-Dub, Bobby, Big Kev, and Steve-O all in the building today. And we're going to talk about the Chicago Bulls team, where we see it going, the issues that we see with it, positives as well. We're going to get into all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. Fellas, let's get into it, man. So it's been a weird season already for the Chicago Bulls between like the losing Zach LaVine trade requests. Then, we get Zach LaVine and DeMar out. The young guys step up. DeMar comes back. The young guys still look excellent. And so we're going to start it off with this one. The style of play that the Chicago Bulls have played over the last two games. How sustainable do you think? Again, this is not about wins or losses. It's about the style of play. How sustainable do you think the style of play is? Who wants to take it away first?
I think it's very sustainable, Haize. Like, they already are like near the top of the league and not turning the ball over. They take care of the ball. Now they're assisting as well. They let the coaches allowing those young guys to run. Io is a one-man fast break, shades of old school D Rose even a little bit. It's just been good to see them sharing the basketball. Is it sustainable when Zach get back? Is the real question, but we'll get to that later. But as far as right now, as long as Zach is out, I think these guys are gonna keep playing the same way.
I say right now it is sustainable. I mean, you look at the last two games; these guys had over 30 assists, and then the ball is not sticking. DeMar DeRozan, he's still gonna go and do his ISO thing, but at the end of the day, the ball is not sticking as much as it was when you got DeMar and Zach in the lineup. They just got to continue to do it, and I think right now you got to show a lot of love to Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and Patrick Williams. The young guys they are the future, bro. No matter how we want to draw it up, they are the future, and they've been, grabbing the bull by the horn, and they've been kind of leading the show, and Billy Donovan, got to give a little credit to him. Chewing all that damn gum, hey, something is positive has been on the court for the last two games, but I think it is sustainable, at least for now.
I'm going to say it's sustainable because the other way that we were playing was not working at all. ISO ball does not work for this group of players on this team. And sharing the ball, or need I say, random offense is the offense that we should go with. We got this youth movement with the Bulls, with the Kobe White, Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu, among others. It's only been 2 games of a sample size, but it is way better what we've been watching for the entirety of this season. I say it's sustainable for sure. And if Zach LaVine can't get in tune, hey,
we'll get into that. That's a separate topic. We'll get into that.
Hey,
how you feeling, Steve?
Man, y'all know damn well this ain't sustainable. Y'all know damn well it's not sustainable.
I don't know that.
You know why you don't know it? Because we done seen it before. Yeah, they have moved for about 2 weeks, and when they're constantly moving, then it's gonna get stagnant again. Yeah, we moving now. Yeah, we making shots now. But what happens when we ain't making shots? We go back to our old roots.
I mean, I think making our shots. Though, we saw that in both this game and the Milwaukee game. They weren't making their shots the whole game, but they stuck with
compared to what we was making.
I mean, we had a quarter of shooting 26% and still stayed with the same play styles. So that's pretty bad shooting there for a quarter. For a whole quarter, we were shooting 26%.
I mean,
and that's usually when you see them default back into, all right, DeMar, let's get DeMar to dribble the hell out the ball, 15 pump fakes and start getting us some shots. And they at least didn't do that in this last game. And DeMar, of course, was out against the Bucks, so I can't really go back to that on that one. So
yeah, but we still ain't, like, for one, a handful of teams that haven't got a real understanding of a team with a Zachless and DeMarless team. So what happens when they figure that out? I don't have the confidence that this team is going to be able to push through when they face another wall. And that's really my thing. I don't think it's sustainable because y'all don't have a sustained culture. The culture is not sustained. So I don't expect us to keep doing it. You got to show me that y'all going to keep doing over time.
I'm right there with you, Steve-O. In that regard, the last 2 seasons, they haven't shown us a 3, 4, 5 game stretch where they've played consistently. But I'll take these 2 games and just hope for the best. I guess I'm being optimistic in a situation where I'm not normally optimistic, but it's just a different mindset out there. Patrick's more aggressive. Kobe, I owe you an apology. We said you didn't take a step forward earlier this year. You were shooting 30% from three, and from that point forward, even he's been shooting 50%. A 20% jump is humongous. So shout out to Kobe. But those guys look different out there right now. Io is able to just play freely. He don't look nervous no more. So I'm excited to see over this next week or so what the team is going to look like. It's only 2 games next week, I believe. They got what it takes to win 2 more.
Yeah, two winnable, very winnable games as well against the Hornets and the Spurs. Who, listen, the Spurs got to stop starting Jeremy Sohan at the damn point.
Hey, bro.
Jeremy Sohan he got like everything we say about Zach LaVine's basketball IQ times that by at least one.
Bro.
Jeremy Sohan basketball.
Bro, it's like Dennis Rodman playing point right now with him. Bro.
That's crazy, bro. And like, I don't know if Pop just feel like, listen, Pop is one of the best developing coaches in the NBA. So maybe he feels like, listen, we're going to go through this and it'll be better on the other side. And while he's really good defensively, that offensive basketball IQ from Jeremy Sohan is god fucking awful. I'm sorry, that's not what we're here to talk about. Jesus, bro, like that dude is stupid.
It is awful, but that's
stupid. He's basketball remedial on the offensive side of the ball. It's crazy, but anyway, Bobby, how you feel about Steve-O's comments about
I mean, it's fair. I mean, it's fair because, like, you know what I'm saying? It's fair because we already know the Chicago Bulls typically they do things the correct way for a week or two, and then they revert back to what has plagued them and what has made them a mediocre team for the longest. But I say that, like, the reason I'm looking at it as being more sustainable is because now I'm looking at the leadership aspect from a young guy like Kobe White, and then like kind of Ayo Dosunmu getting back to his old ways, you know, where a lot of people is constantly saying, hey, that's that line Ayo right there. And then you starting to see Patrick Williams be a little bit more aggressive, show his emotions a little bit more, and it's not just all about flowers. And I think that everybody know that Zach LaVine is going to be out the door pretty soon. And even while they was going through their, I believe it was 6-game losing streak, you still seen the young guys kind of like hold down their own. And now they don't have to worry about Zach LaVine that much anymore. And DeMar DeRozan in the last game that he played, he seemed like he was just allowing the guys to just play basketball. He still had his possession swell with a little bit of ISO that, and that's going to happen. You're not just going to play freely the entire game. Yeah. But he was doing it mostly within the flow of the offense. So, you know, I understand where Steve-O coming from, but I just want to, you know, I just hope that they can do something right.
I think it's two different questions, right? Can it be sustained is a different question from will it be sustained. The will it we'll never know until they actually can do it consistently. But I think we have the talent, the makeup, and the players that are stepping up at the right time for it to be able to be sustainable. They just have to prove that they can do it and will do it. So I think that's a big point to point out there as well. Now, one of the other questions that we have to ask, and Bobby kind of touched this already, is that coming into the last game, my biggest question was DeMar. Well, how was he going to fit in and kind of moving the ball more up-tempo, things like that? And it was started off a little bit rocky, but it seemed like he felt it out as the game went on and kind of figured out where he can get his, facilitated more, deferred at times to Kobe White, even other players as well, Ayo when he got going. And then we saw it in the fourth quarter. DeMar DeRozan really turned it on, scored 9 points in the fourth quarter, going, I think, 4 of 6 from the field, and playing that normal DeMar role in the fourth. Do you think DeMar will fit in it long term, or do you think he may be the cog that kind of breaks this system up? C-Dub, I'll come to you first on this one.
I think it's kind of up in the air. He did have a good game yesterday with 24 and 10, but you can see at times that he struggled with the new way of ball movement with the young guys yesterday. But he eventually got into rhythm. He does have times where he could go in and get those ISO buckets, which he did last game. But it's still up in the air. I don't know if he can continue to go with the program. We'll have to wait and see.
I agree with you. Like, I feel like he can. But somebody like DeMar, and it's not even because of the magnitude of the history of Pop. It's just the intensity Pop comes out with. And he need a coach that's gonna be like, DeMar, this is the system. This is what we run. If you going out there be like, bro, just be DeMar gonna eventually go back to DeMar ways. And that's really what it is. When he was with Pop was like, bro, this is the system, and you're gonna fall within the lines of the system. If I see anything go out that's not within the system, I'm taking you out. And that's what he did. Billy not like that. Billy would go out there and be like, well, it ain't the system, but he got it going, so let him do it. which you should do to some degree. But at the same time, I just feel like, and I feel like that's one of my most worrisome moments about this team is they don't have the I get what you're saying with the IOs and the Kobe's. Their leadership is coming out, but I still don't think they're at the degree of leadership where they can sit there and be like, Billy, what are you doing? You're going away from such and such. Stop going away from him. I don't know if Kobe is at the magnitude of him saying that. I'm pretty sure he can, but I need somebody in that locker room that's going to be like, this is the standard we're holding. This is the system we're running, and we're going to run that system. If we had that, I have wholehearted confidence that DeMar will fall in line. But because we don't have that in place, it's up in the air, like C-Dub just said.
I'm more concerned about Vucevic and how he's affected by DeMar's presence on the court. When DeMar wasn't there, he had a 30 and 10. Last night, it wasn't there. 3 for 12 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. And again, we've discussed this ad nauseum at this point. My man's plays in the same spots as DeMar. They operate in the same areas. So that's where the disconnect is coming. Like Vucevic is disengaged when Zach and DeMar are out there, or just DeMar. So how does that affect the squad moving forward is my question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bobby.
I was just gonna say I think that DeMar can fit in long term simply because I believe that I believe he's the most well respected vet within the Chicago Bulls. That's over Vooch and Zach. And you know what I'm saying, all the offseason stuff that he's doing with the young guys and things like that. And then when it comes to Vooch, I believe Vooch respects DeMar in the light, because I believe even though he wasn't productive yesterday, you know what I'm saying, to the degree that we like it, we didn't really see bad body language with him. I know when Zach LaVine is out there, Vooch is flailing his hands. He's waving Zach off. He's being a different type of guy. That's why I think that when you talk about DeMar DeRozan, it can fit a little bit better. And I also think Steve-O, I believe that DeMar DeRozan can provide some of that leadership. He's already taking these young guys under his wing, and in the media, he's already said, hey, man, we just got to go out there and hoop. He's been like the constant voice to say, we just got to keep playing basketball. We can right the ship, et cetera, et cetera.
But I can argue that fall on deaf ears more times than it does.
I mean, I feel you on that, but I also feel that DeMar's voice is more felt throughout the locker room than Zach LaVine.
Yeah, because they made it that way.
Yeah.
But I also think that it was DeMar DeRozan's initiative to say, hey, young guys, y'all going to work out with me no matter what. You don't have a choice.
I think he earned that respect.
I think he's earned that with what he's been in the league. I also think, like, to point out to Kev's point, though, like, yes, Vooch went back to kind of playing bad. I don't know if it was just the presence of DeMar, though, because Vooch never really plays good against Valanciunas either. So it may be a combination of those two things.
Bro.
Yeah, it may be a combination of those two things. Ass every rip.
But I mean, next we got the Hornets up next, and listen, Mark Williams defensively is a monster. It'll be interesting to see how that's gonna go.
I'm kind of worried about Nick Vooch. That's four triple singles in the last 5 games. I'm telling y'all right now. He had a best game last game without DeMar and Zach with 30 and 10 or whatever he had. But I'm worried if he can play with any of those guys, DeMar or Zach. Because
I mean, when you look at it, like Vooch, somebody pointed this out. I don't even know if it was on the episode with Steve, but if you look at it, Vooch was out of Zach, DeMar, and Vooch. Vooch was the last one to be the focal point of a team that went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that, I think that, well, as far as when they were solo, if you look at that, I think there is something to be said on, while Vooch does defer to DeMar, there should be something to be said that maybe the opposite should be true. And then we see DeMar kind of more so like he did in yesterday's game, pick the fourth quarter, things like that. But we're not seeing that. And that is part of Billy Donovan, and that is part of coaching, is that he more so bets on DeMar. We know he's a guard favorable coach. He's always been that. And I think that plays a role in that too. So,
but then over the last 3 years, the Bulls play better when they play through Vooch. Stacey King says it all the time during the broadcast. If they play inside-out basketball, it leads to wide open shots for Kobe White. They move better without the ball. He's hitting the cutters. He played like trash yesterday, but if the team doesn't really have a true identity, a player like Vooch is going to fall by the wayside. And right now, they're starting to get an identity 20-something plus games into the season, so I'm happy to see it.
And what would that be, that identity?
They running the ball. They running. Like these guys are
The pace.
running, bro.
I mean,
The
but
pace.
we
Pace and
always
ball
knew that.
movement.
We seen that when they not on the floor.
Yeah,
Like,
obviously. I'm saying that now they're embracing that identity. They haven't embraced any identity all season, but these last 2 games they played the same style of basketball. They played a brand of basketball in those
I
last
think
2 games.
the point to Kev's point to kind of bring it together a little bit too, is that the bench players kind of set the tone early, but then we had Alex Caruso move into the starting lineup and it changed, right? And then we never really saw the bench set that identity and tone again. Now we're seeing, because of the minutes that are now open because Zach LaVine's out, you're getting more minutes from Io, you're getting more minutes from Javon Carter, you're getting more minutes from Patrick Williams, and he's playing well. So that it's now going throughout the roster a little bit more, whereas it was spurts before. The biggest question is like, is that going to be something that they keep doing? And right now, 2 games is hard to say, but there's absolutely identity out there. Like this team, and I've compared to this, it's been comparable to the Baby Bulls era in the sense that they play tough. And you're not always going to win, right? That's why I say it's not really about wins and losses. It's not what we're talking about here. But the style of play that they're doing, fighting hard on defense, out rebounding teams, using those rebounds and forcing turnovers to then get out in transition, attack the defense before they set up. We're seeing that happen consistently throughout the roster for the first time this season, at least. And they just got to see if they can keep doing it.
Yeah. I like the fact that Billy Donovan is letting the rookies play too. He letting Julian Phillips play. He wouldn't have did that in previous years. So he's definitely changing up of what he wants to do.
He let Io
We
play.
see it, but like
Kobe
Io and
played.
Patrick Williams played right away.
Yeah.
So
y'all give it Billy
people
too much
always go
credit.
to that. People always
Bro,
go to
you
that.
got to
and say
give him
that-
some type of credit. I ain't saying
gotta
go
give him
crazy, but you got to give him something.
Y'all gotta
I
give
ain't,
Billy
I
some
ain't giving
credit,
you
bro.
credit for putting out players you're supposed to put out, and the only reason you're putting them out is because Zach and DeMar's not here. I'm not giving you no credit for that. I'm just not.
Torrey Craig been
to
playing
me, a
better,
second
too.
round pick ain't necessarily supposed to play day one. So you can't say that.
No, you just supposed to
be
play
playing
your players and figure out what you got. You don't even know what you got with some of them because you don't play them. You
True. But
put
they're
Julian.
bad. They're also bad players. Like Dalen Terry has been bad. So
Well,
it's easy just to say play them. But like even Julian Phillips, like, and there's something to be said too. Like Julian Phillips was a little bit uncontrolled. He's playing better, but let's not act like Julian Phillips played. He played 4 minutes. So it's not like Billy Donovan's running them out there 10, 15 minutes. So.
Yeah.
I mean, with the shots he taking, he missing too.
That
Let's not
too,
just
but he's-
ignore it. He missing them shots.
Yeah.
He rushing his 3. He just got to get comfortable, but he can't get comfortable, like
But
Steve was saying, if he's not out there playing.
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
Like you can't sit out there and throw them out 4-5 at a time. They're never going to get it right. The reason why Io was able to get him right because you gave him that chance. You gave him that time where he was like, all right, I'm gonna put you in the game in key moments. And Io built off that. So as Kobe built off it. And at times, so as Pat. But with Dalen or anybody else, they're never going to get to that degree if you're not playing them. You're not playing them at all.
I just think he's concentrated on winning games. So
You ain't winning shit.
Like, that's what he concentrated on. He's trying to win games. So he gonna fit in a couple minutes for Julian Phillips. If he's not cracking, he's not hitting shots. That's it. That's your 4 minutes. Now you're out. Now let's put in the players that can win me the game.
Well, since you bring it
think
up,
also
like
with a player like Julian Phillips, I think, and don't get me wrong, I understand the critique on Billy Donovan. You know, I'm not one to defend Billy Donovan. I don't care about Billy Donovan, but I also think you got to take in the front office aspect of it. Like they want these guys down in the G League because they're able to work on the totality of their game. Julian Phillips handles the ball some in the G League. You know what he's not going to do no matter how many minutes he plays on this team? He ain't doing no ball handling. No. So I think it's that's part of it as well. I'm not saying that I agree with it because to me, I think Julian Phillips has shown enough energy, at least in rebounding wise, and some defensive rotations to where let him sink or swim. That's always my mindset. But I don't know if it's always a Billy thing, and sometimes it may be a front office thing on what they want to see from the development of some of these players.
I was just about to say that because I was like, what if that's the thing with Billy? Like you said, he's trying to win. Maybe it's time for AK to be like, scratch this, we trying to win. It's time to just fix what the problem is first. Because I feel like a lot of things with this, along with this organization, it's too many times where we're trying to fix a broken boat. It's broken. You need a new boat. You need to start figuring it out. You need to put it aside and be like, all right, let's fix the main issues here instead of trying to win and fix it at the same time.
Well, I
We
think
can't win and fix.
the problem has been too is that they've been sinking on said boat, so you can't get to another boat unless you patch it up and at least get to shore. So I think that's what
gotta
No,
stay
y'all need to
afloat.
drown. No, they just need to
Yeah.
drown. Let it go. It's done. Let it drown. Let get off. Try to
Oh yeah,
stay.
this boat
Those
that
that
capsized
survive.
a long time ago. You right.
No, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
done.
I
This
mean, no,
boat
I
that
agree with
capsized.
that. Like,
Yeah.
Okay. When y'all say boat, y'all mean the core three. This core three. That
Oh
we
yeah,
have
for
to
sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
good riddance. Like, I
It's-
mean, I think it should
yeah.
it's evidence that Zach LaVine has to go. You want to go, so now you need to go. You
It's
quit
in
on the
his
city
play.
of
Like
Chicago, so we
Yeah,
don't
you
want
just
you anymore.
jacking. You
I
just
could see
jacking.
if Zach was like, I'm ready to go, and he was still performing. Like my man, not even performing right now. Like he's just throwing a hissy fit, and it's hurting the team.
he acting mad light skinned, bro. Like it's
Super
real
duper.
talk. It's like, come on. Man. Like I said, I can understand
Alright.
why Zach wants to move. I can
Mhm.
understand that, but how he's going about it, I don't agree with.
He throwing a
Agree.
whole hissy fit.
Like,
he
yeah,
probably
like
be
you
at-
can't,
he-
you can't quit on your team because those, as of right now, are still
Yeah.
your guys, right?
Mhm.
Those are
Right.
still your guys, and so the fact that it seems like you've quit on your guys, and the people who are like, oh, they're making Zach a scapegoat, you're fucking idiots. I can't stand anybody who says that they're making Zach LaVine the scapegoat, and he's out there playing the way that he's playing,
Right.
9 shots in a game where we need you to score to shoot. Nah, you don't get no pass on that one.
Hey, Noel,
Okay, but
Noel,
let's really break this down though.
hold on,
Let's
Steve-O,
really
real quick.
go
Noel
ahead.
Jr., my name is Big Kev, and I did apologize. I've been apologizing to Kobe for a long time, a lot. But he's been playing better since we said that. But go ahead, Steve-O, my bad.
But I was like, let's really break this down because, like, I get what you said, but to a certain degree, they are making him the scapegoat because I think all intelligent Bulls fans know what the main issue is, and the main issue goes towards Billy in the front office. And the front office, alongside with Billy, has came on and said, "Okay, forget you. This is Debo's team." So how do you expect him to figure
I
that?
gotta disagree with that. They have not said that. When Zach
No,
Zach
they
LaVine's
haven't
strength is
said
why,
that, but
it's why
they're-
they took away from that. Because when Zach was healthy, when this team first got together, DeMar and Zach were averaging the same with the same amount of shots, the same prioritization. Zach went down with his injury the same time Lonzo did, and then they had to go to DeMar more after that. We came into last season. Zach LaVine was hurt. When he got back healthy, Zach LaVine was back prioritized. I think people use that they made it DeMar's team because DeMar at that point was the one performing. Like that doesn't make, like, you got to show and prove.
I
That's
can
not
sit
making you a
there and
scapegoat when
debate.
your performance is bad. To me, it's saying that Zach LaVine, if they're making Zach LaVine the scapegoat, if they're outright saying, bam, yeah, this team would be so much better if Zach's holding us back. Zach's this. Nobody said nothing.
No,
They've been nothing
but
but supportive with
that's
Zach.
not what
LaVine.
I'm saying. They're never going out there and be like, it's Zach. It says between how you act with your team, how you call
This
plays.
team was built to overcome Zach's shortcomings. How is that making him the
How
scapegoat?
if you trying to bring Debo in?
Because
Debo was
Zach
never
LaVine
supposed to
sucked
work.
going down the stretch and scoring in close games. So they brought in somebody who can close.
Hold
They
on.
brought in Lonzo Ball because Zach LaVine's
I
ball
don't-
handling
no,
was trash down the
no.
stretch of games.
So
No,
I'm
come
right
on,
there
bro.
with you,
No.
Haize. Zach has terrible
Come on.
footwork. He can't go left. It's really just all or nothing with him. Either open dunks or step back threes. Maybe some mid ranges, but no post game, no footwork to get himself easier shots. That's why they brought in Debo, who can manufacture shots. Like that's what Zach cannot do. He does not manufacture. If he's off, if his
I don't
jumper
think
not
that's
falling,
correct. They
if
don't
They
think
Zach's
brought
that's
jumper-
in,
correct.
see that's
if
y'all.
Zach's
They
jumper
brought
not
in
not
falling,
correct.
it's over
They
for
brought
him, bro.
in Zoe to overcome his shortcomings, not
And
Debo.
DeMar as well. Like literally, when you have
That's
a player
I
whose
get that.
basketball IQ is great in the fourth quarter, and you have a player side by side with him that's basketball IQ is trash in the fourth quarter, guess what? You're hoping that they're going to overcome each other's faults. And when they both prioritize the same amount when they're both healthy, how are you saying that? They did not.
Because
Zach ain't
at
been
the
made the
same
scapegoat
time,
for nothing but Zach LaVine's own issues.
But
He's like the only thing that he's scapegoated for is the fact that he has terrible basketball IQ and makes terrible decisions. It's been down the stretch throughout the whole game. No, but like, so I can't get with
He's
that
not
Zach
adding to his
scapegoat
game.
thing.
He's not.
I can't
adding
get with
to his
that.
I
game.
get you, but at the same time, we going in. We all know when Zach getting the ball, correct?
No.
Correct.
What do you mean?
No,
Most of the
so
time.
we don't know when Zach getting the ball. So
When
we
Zach's
don't know
getting the
that
ball?
Zach is majority gonna get the ball in the third. We don't know that.
Zach LaVine does not average the most shots in the third.
But that's the time he usually gets it.
But yeah, because he's going. It's not the fact that you just say automatically in the third, Zach, you're getting your shots. It's the fact that,
But
okay,
they do
Zach,
that with
let's get you
DeMar in the
going.
fourth. They do that to DeMar majority.
Yeah,
of
because
the
guess
time.
what? DeMar is the best person in the fourth quarter to go to. Zach has to prove that he earned that.
But how you gonna prove if you brought it in? You can't prove it if you giving the ball to somebody else.
So you're saying that Zach over the last 3 years hasn't got any opportunities in the fourth? How many times have we
I'm
seen
not
Zach
saying
LaVine
that.
dribble the
I'm
ball off
just saying-
his foot in the fourth?
How
Come on,
many?
bro.
Or a
All I'm
terrible
saying
or
is-
a terrible step back that had no
All
business
I'm
being
saying
shot.
is when you had him with a good point guard, everything was right. But you never was gonna work with him and Debo. It just never was going to work.
But it wasn't just about those two. The way that the team was built was for the team construction is important. It's not like it was just Zach and Debo. Bam, we're good. No, they brought in Zoe and they signed Zoe before Debo because then they brought in Debo to help bring in the things that Zach and Debo didn't have. So what are you talking about?
The reason I'm talking about is because I'm saying Zoe was the key. When Zoe was going, you should have. No, that's my whole point.
More because Zoe went down with injury because they locked in Zoe first.
But my point is my whole point is when Zoe went down and you realized he wasn't going out, you should have realized, okay, DeMar Zoe is not going to work. You sit there tried to make it work, it wasn't going to work. That's my whole thing.
And I'm not.
And my
whole
hold on.
Not making Zach the scapegoat.
Let me cook. But my whole thing is when Zoe got that money, you're saying to Zoe without saying it, this is your team. You're going to take the most important shots, and that's what he thought. So because he don't think that now, he see that everything is getting catered to Debo. Now it's an issue. That's my whole thing. I'm not
everything
saying
isn't being catered to Debo.
I don't think
he's also still getting his shots.
Debo. He gotta be
not
tougher than that.
No,
He gotta be tougher than
that. Is catered to Debo.
No, it's not. Just because he ball handles, because he's a better ball handler than Zach, the whole scheme isn't catered to DeMar.
In what world would you want Debo to bring up the court and pick a roll all day?
Better than
that's
Zach
literally
LaVine.
What we're doing.
Better than Zach LaVine because he's terrible.
I don't want none of them doing it. That's the whole.
Okay, but the thing is, that's what it could have. You have to deal with what you have on this roster. We can make any type of imaginary scenario
not work.
But the fact of the matter is that's a completely different conversation. Two things can be true.
But that's the conversation I'm trying to have. You keep bringing it back to Debo, like because he do it better. I'm not arguing against that, but when it becomes to that, that's not going to win us the most amount of games. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's my thing. I'm not saying Zach because he's his team, he should get everything. I'm saying what he thought, and because what he thought was the reality was. That's why he's feeling the type of way he is. That's why he's not coming into it the way he is. That's why he don't have the heart for it because he don't like Billy. Billy came in here and said, "Okay, in his eyes, you gave everything to Debo." That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying right or wrong.
That's not true. Everything didn't go to Debo.
I'm saying in Debo and Zach eyes. I'm not saying it's true right or wrong. I'm saying,
but the thing is, again, that's still not making him the scapegoat where we started with this. At that point, then step the fuck up, Zach.
That's
yeah,
it.
Because I was
I mean, what you want him to do? Take the ball out of his hand?
Because Zach had plenty of opportunities when DeRozan was hurt several times throughout the last couple seasons to step up, and he didn't.
And that's why I was going with it too, because it was plenty of times where you seen Zach LaVine when it's time for him or somebody to step up, he's coming up the court, he touched the ball, and he's giving it to DeMar DeRozan. There was even times, I believe, last season where we seen DeMar DeRozan being doubled coming across half court. The ball goes to Zach LaVine, and then Zach LaVine, once the double clears off of DeMar DeRozan, gives it back to DeMar DeRozan. So some of it is on him too.
I mean, like he's not. I mean, honestly, he's not a one. He's not a number one.
No, he's definitely not a one.
No.
And that's the truth of the matter is that Zach carries himself like a number one option. He just doesn't have a big enough bag to be able to do what it is that he think he can do. That's just how I feel. He's too limited offensively. The only thing that Zach has going for him is when he's hot, and when he's hot, he's just pretty much unstoppable. But other than that, like if you need Zach to just go get a bucket, you don't feel confident that Zach gonna go do it, bro.
I agree with you with that.
Yeah,
especially with that was all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just my whole thing is I feel like we're kind of leaning on this style of play. Well, not no more, but we was leaning on this style of play, and we seen what was going to happen down the road. They didn't. That's my whole thing. I think that's what it was.
And that goes back to AK. When they got here, bro, I felt as though they were going to do everything in their power to put together a roster of a competitive team and they fell in love with the idea of that roster. We've talked about it a lot over here, and they haven't made the right move since. That's what I don't like about what the general management has done, is that they like the fact that Zoe was good when he was here, and they haven't done anything to properly replace that. And hopefully they can figure it out. They should have traded DeRozan when he was an all-star last season. That's when they should have traded him, but they didn't. So he's still here, and it's looking like they're going to probably give him that extension.
For sure.
So I want to ask this question. So do y'all think the downfall of this team was Zach's attitude of being, he felt like he was a one? Because I could agree with that.
I think there's a lot.
Yeah,
that's part of it. That's part of it, Steve-O. That's part.
It's part of it. Yeah, I think that was like one of the biggest blows.
Because this year he came in like, okay, I'm healthy, I'm young, I still can do what I think I can do, and it just hasn't worked out for him. And honestly, it could be a change of scenery that's necessary for a player like Zach to finally flourish. You look at how what's his name was in Orlando, the dude that he was in the dunk contest with, that Zach was in the dunk contest.
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon
had all these expectations. They paid him like a number one in Orlando. It didn't pan out. And he went to Denver and was immediately a number 3, number 4 option. And now he's playing to his capabilities. Not that Zach should go all the way down to a number 4, but he might need to change the scenery and play in a situation where he's a true number 2, number 3 option.
Yeah,
I just think as it's kind of like we piling on Zach LaVine. I think Zach LaVine is
he heard
player. I think he's a terrific player. You know what I'm saying? It may be a time for a new scenery. Who knows if he's a number 1 or a number 2? He might be tired of his surroundings.
We know because we've been watching him.
He's not going to all of a sudden develop into a number 1 option at 29 years old, which
if you don't not let alone not go left, he don't use his left hand.
He don't even think about it.
He don't even use it.
He don't even think about it.
I see him go on the left side.
On the left side.
Right, Kev. We say it every time on the live stream. He'll cut left, go on to the left side of the rim and finish right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Textbook wise, as a child, they teach you not to do that.
Right.
That's absolutely right. But it is some great NBA players that never went left. Clyde Drexler, Latrell.
They weren't. Was they ones though?
Clyde Drexler was.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it was a lot of people in the '90s that didn't have the skill.
And honestly, pace is different now too, man. Yeah. Like back then, they was averaging 85 points a game. So it's like Zach got to do a little bit. And it's not just that he can't go left; his footwork is atrocious.
His footwork,
he never heroes. If he's going,
that's why his foot's hurt, because he dribbled the ball off.
Yeah, that's the shit. I mean, he brings a lot of those issues on himself. He'll have the lane, just like last game we all watched together. I believe it was against the Bucks, and we like, bro, damn, Io driving baseline. How many times have we called Zach LaVine to just drive baseline, bro? Never. We always call it, but we don't really see it. He'll dribble left and then go right back right inside the paint. We've seen it plenty of times.
Man got a brain of barbecue sauce, bro.
No, bro. So that brings us to the last. Even though we've been talking about Zach for like the last 10 minutes, does Zach LaVine, if he can't adapt his game to this team's play style, if they maintain it, does Zach need to sit into the trades finalized? How you guys feel?
I believe the man needs to sit already. I mean, you already about to sit out this week. And then a week after that, December 15th is what, the expected date to where they could really start making moves because of the business of the NBA. I believe that he just need to chill because the energy around the team is different. I mean, you looking at it, you seeing guys compete, you seeing guys cheering, you see guys engaged better than they was when he was in there. I say it's just time to just let him go ahead and chill out. And I'm with nephew. I'm with nephew. I think you don't even come back and play. I think you sit until the trade comes. It's just time to move on. I appreciated that he started this mess and he put the Bulls on the spot. We appreciate him for that. But now it's just time to move on. Ain't no use of putting her back in, bro.
It's never.
That's facts. Zach is more enthusiastic on the sidelines. First of all, he's been dressed like a charismatic youth pastor.
Like a substitute teacher.
And then
the charismatic youth pastor.
And then secondly,
Hey,
He's been
Zach LaVine can't dress the same.
Bro, what is wrong with him?
Bro, he
Still
try
shot
to
that
dress.
cold.
It's like
That
he try
nigga
to
shot
dress
that
West
Like,
cold.
Coast and East
there's
Coast
no
at the
reason
same
why
time.
Toby Maguire and Zach LaVine should have the same style.
They both
bro.
shot
There's
that
no
cold.
I
reason.
would
for that.
argue Toby's
That's
is better.
crazy.
Hey, look, Zach be at Target like, ooh, you see that? Ooh.
He talking about
That
a target.
Will Gottlieb dress better than
It's
Zach
like he
LaVine,
go.
bro.
It's
That's
like
crazy.
Zach go in the Debo closet and get a shirt and then get the pants from Kobe.
Bro.
But no, Zach is definitely more enthusiastic on the bench, rooting these guys on, and I think it's because he knows the writing's on the wall, and he sees that his guys are finally getting the opportunities without him. You know, it is what it is, man. Like I love Zach. We've been trumpeting his praises for 3 seasons now, and we none of us have been down on him to the point where we wanted him to go. And I know people who have, and they look right at the moment. You know, they're looking right. You got your max contract, and you've taken steps backward in the process. So good luck to him wherever he ends up, unless he stays here. If he does stay here, to the question is, can this be sustained when he comes back? It's absolutely yes, but it's about his mentality. He's got to be willing to run. How many times have we seen him get the rebound and not push the ball? Like, come on, man, push it. You
I'm
out
gonna be
there.
honest, Kev. I'm with them. Like the only way and the reason why we know he's not a one is because of this thing. The only way he's gonna be sustainable here is if he have a point guard. And we're not getting one no time soon. So
We have a point guard.
you know what I mean, C-Dub.
Oh, you mean
not
that type
Kobe.
of point
Yeah,
guard.
not
That
Kobe.
type of point
You
guard.
know what I mean. Like
Kobe's not a
he
facilitator.
need a pass first.
Or pass
Kobe's
first.
not that.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
He need and that's the thing. If when we get in that conversation when we say it's necessary for you to have a pass first, you ain't the number one. You just not. Think about it. What
Can't argue
Kobe
with that.
didn't need a point guard. KD don't need no point guard. Devin Booker don't need no point guard. Like it is what it is.
Well, having a point guard
It
did unlock
helps.
Devin Booker's game some, but then he maintained it without.
Yeah.
Like he maintained that style once he didn't have one too.
True.
Go ahead.
That's a super chat.
To Haize point, the Washington game last season when we were down 3 with like 2 seconds left, Zach LaVine just ran up for a layup instead of taking the 3.
I remember that game.
I don't remember that, but that sounds like something.
I remember that game.
IQ.
No, you remember when he got the ball and ran straight down court, full speed past everybody and went for the layup and it barely touched the rim.
Oh shit! Now that I do.
And we was like, bro, we was sitting there like, all right, Zach, no. It was one of those.
Ultimately, I think just with this thing, it's frustrating that with Zach it didn't work here, and there's a lot of things that go into. I'm not blaming that strictly on Zach because when you look at the play style from the last 2 games, that theoretically should fit Zach LaVine's game perfectly.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
It should.
That's what I was going to say.
And we all sitting here like, hey, we don't think it's gonna work when Zach gets back.
I mean,
why is that? That's bad.
Because
That's
it's
bad.
mentality.
I just think that it's mentality, and I just think that the way that him and DeMar has played and shown us that, you know what I'm saying, I believe you can it's gonna be some ISO possessions up in the basketball game.
Yes,
but I just believe when these 2 guys are just forcing it so much, that's when your offense gets stagnant. That's when you take guys out of the game that really want to be in the game. So that's why I think like it's gonna have to start with all y'all saying the mentality. How are you gonna come back and play, bro?
Yeah. Like if you,
I gotta fight back on this point from Supernatural. Kobe's Lou Williams type. We need a pass first guard. Phoenix went to the finals with CP3 there. Yeah, and Nuggets went to the finals and won with Jamal Murray type. Like this pass first point. First of all, there are like 5 of them in the NBA. Look at the last 5 NBA champions. It wasn't a pass first point guard.
0 rings.
Exactly.
Jason Kidd has
like that.
one.
That's just a bad. You went to CP3, bro.
I wouldn't even say
that was like trying to talk about chastity and bringing up Mariah Mills. Bro.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty bad saying Lou Will and Kobe. I felt that was pretty bad. Lou Will and Kobe.
Yeah, that was a bad comp.
That one, bro.
It's a bad comp. I mean, I honestly seen people compare Kobe White to Jamal Murray. At least some people.
That makes most sense.
And I think that make a lot of sense. I just want Kobe to be consistent now. We seen what
he's
he's capable
been for 2
of.
weeks.
Let's be. When now teams are going to start game planning a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
that's coming.
You know what I'm saying? To slow them down. Can you find your way in that? And I got to
get like 8 straight games.
Love.
Like 8 straight games.
But I would say, nephew, with this type of offense, it's gonna be hard to double team them because they move the ball.
No, I was just about to say, C-Dub.
As long as Torrey Craig and them hitting they shots, then they will not be able to double team Kobe.
And you know what's crazy? And y'all might get mad at me for saying this. I trust I trust Kobe getting a bucket over Zach.
I do too, because he's more
Oh,
decisive.
facts.
I'm not even mad
You
at
saw,
that.
yeah,
He's
facts.
way more
And
decisive.
here's the thing.
He drives.
I'll take it even further than the bucket. If the ball was in Kobe's White's hands with 10 seconds left on the clock, and Zach LaVine, same play, same situation, regardless if it's shooting or passing, I trust Kobe White to make the right decision more than I trust Zach
That's
LaVine.
exactly what I was
Gotta
going to say,
give-
because
you
there's
gotta
no
We're
give-
reason
talking
why a
pressure
player.
situations.
There's no
correct?
reason
Any
why
Because
Kobe
he's
situation.
definitely
White.
not the scorer that Zach LaVine is, but in pressure
Absolutely,
situations.
but he makes better
Okay.
decisions. He has a better
That's-
basketball IQ.
Yes,
The man
absolutely,
will-
100%.
He goes to the basket more than Zach does. Like he
And that's
attacks
why
the
I was
basket more than
And
Zach does.
he gets to the free. He has a higher free throw rate as well as the Zach
Which
LaVine.
is
So
sad.
that's
part of the thing is that Zach's so theatric about trying to make sure he gets fouls, and I'm sure the refs look at that and say, "What the fuck is
Right.
that?"
Crab baby ass out here.
Real talk.
Hey.
Come on, get your light skin.
Stop saying hey every time you go for a
Someone said,
damn layup.
"Hey,
How about you?
What is
How
that,
about
bro?"
you learn from DeMar and fall, motherfucker? Do
Listen,
that.
or Euro step. It's because that little pump
He can't
fake,
Euro
that,
step because he doing that fake.
that pump fake
Too much.
layup joint that he do.
Yeah.
It's over. They got tape on
He
it, my
heard
guy.
the OKC dude talk about that last year when we playing Shea, and he said Shea should get that part of his pack. He heard that shit and took that to heart. That's why every time he goes to towards the lane, he say, like they not even falling for that no more, bro.
Nope,
Yeah.
they got tape on it.
Like, bro, like that's what I was about to say. Cause I was like, bro, if you really want to be honest, like when it comes to ISO ball, Zach suck.
Okay.
He
I'll
suck
say
at ISO, bro.
He mid. He mid.
No, he suck. No, because like he has the scoring mentality. Like he can score in ISO.
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
questioning that. But
Mhm.
when it
No
comes to
footwork.
ISO, decision making it trumps over the shot most of the time.
Oh,
Look at
oh,
that
Well, you
shot.
know what the thing with Zach that's a fault of Zach LaVine too is that I said this before. I think I was on the episode with you, Steve.
You was.
Zach LaVine has handles. Like as far as just standing there, you
Yeah,
can tell he
he
grew up
do that
watching
all
street
day.
ball.
Yeah.
But when it came to moving and dribbling to set up a play, it doesn't shit don't come. He dribbles and be in the same fucking spot. It's like what the fuck did you
And
just
what's the
do?
one thing I always say to you, Kev? I say he wastes dribbles.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's
Yes,
not.
and that's why
yeah.
he starts turning it over so
Look at
much.
the
It's
buzzer
not
beater.
chess.
Look at the buzzer beater that Debo hit last night. All footwork. He had two people on him. He got both of them in the air and then stepped through and hit the shot. You never gonna see that from Zach. Ever.
He ain't gonna think that far.
If he can't get a side step or a step back, he is not gonna do anything with the ball in his hands, bro.
Because Debo was, I mean, not Debo, well, anybody like Debo, D-Book, they be like, I'm gonna do this tween to open you up because I know you gonna turn to that left so I can go right. Zach just like, oh, I'm quick. Like, no, that don't work.
That's
Yeah.
because DeMar, he's faced the toughest competition in
Yep.
playoffs. He's been in tough
Yeah.
playoff series against
Yeah, he a
LeBron and
real
them.
Kobe
Zach
disciple.
has
Well,
not.
that he's just a smarter basketball.
Yes.
Like he's terrible defensively.
Yeah.
But DeMar DeRozan is a smarter basketball player than Zach
Yeah.
LaVine.
Yeah.
I said this before, and
Everybody.
I know I'll be making my comparisons, and people will be laughing, but I'm dead serious. Zach LaVine's dribbling and ball handling, it looks great, but it don't do. It's like a girl who gives head and makes all the sounds in the world, but don't do shit. Ain't shit happen. You just making sounds and bobbing your head.
It
That
sound
don't
like
feel
it go
shit.
crazy, bro.
sounds-
But
it
this shit
sounds
go
good,
crazy.
but it
Like,
don't
you
feel
were good,
good.
and somebody be like, hey, she going to town on
Sound
my
like,
guy.
yeah, with his
Hell
sound
no.
like
Somebody like,
making
hey, man,
keys in that motherfucker.
when is this shit over with? Are you done yet?
Real quick, gentlemen. So I was listening to the radio earlier in trade destinations for the Bulls in terms of Zach and Debo. I like, of course, the younger teams: OKC, Orlando, Toronto. So what are y'all thinking? Like when the Bulls finally decide to trade one or both of these guys, should they be looking at Toronto? Should they be looking at Orlando? Should they be looking at OKC?
They should look at whatever team they get the best. At this point, it's just about getting the most talent you can back in Chicago.
pick.
That's what it's
That-
about.
Because me
I
personally,
don't care. I don't care if they trade him to Detroit. I
Bro.
don't care if they trade him to the Guangdong Tigers. I don't care if they trade him to the
Hell,
Chicago Bears.
no.
You getting
The
the best
Wong
talent
Dong
back.
Tiger.
I
Hell
heard-
no. I do not want Kim Jong Un and shotgun. No, I do not want Kim
He said
Jong
it's
Un.
shotgun.
Come on now. You need to be starting center, bro. Let's be real on
Hey,
this.
if I see a 4'8" motherfucker, you know what? Let me shut up.
Hey,
Hey,
I
so-
know it's only been 2 games, but do we have to be a little bit careful who we bring in here now? Do we want to
Yes.
interrupt those 3 kids
I
that we
told
have
you,
playing
C-Dub.
right?
Well, here's the thing. They have to be prioritized regardless. So I don't care who you bring in. If you can't fit with these 3 players now, unless your talent is so much higher, which we doubt we're going to get that with a Zach LaVine trade,
Yep.
you can't pass up Io, Patrick Williams, and Kobe White with right now how they're playing. Now, if you come in, this ain't sustainable, they fall back off, cool, you got an opportunity. But to me, the first and foremost thing is Kobe White gets his shots.
Yes.
Period. He the number one option for now on.
Period.
And second on that list is Ayo has to play. This guy
I
plays
agree with that.
defense, and this guy
At this point, listen, I love Javon Carter. I love Javon Carter. But at this point, if you need to send in Javon Carter with a Zach LaVine trade to free up some minutes and just to
I
make
ain't mad at
salaries
that.
work, bye-bye.
Hey,
You can come back to Chicago in the offseason, my guy. The city will always love you.
Don't feel sorry, because what was the one thing we said? If you just shoot your goddamn percentage, we'll be good. Your shit dropped.
He back at the crib. He eating Harold's chicken and Uncle
Ain't
Fred's.
that shit like it was 40% before we got his 38.5, right?
Yeah.
That's no, you can go. You're
He's
not
a
even
good
doing what you
shooter.
got here for, bro.
He can't get his shot off, Steve. He can't get his
Because
shot off.
That's on him too.
The reason why I said
Thank
that,
you.
let me just add some clarity. The reason why I said that isn't a negative on Javon really per se, but it's this, is that usually Billy Donovan goes 9 deep. Because Javon and Ayo have both been playing okay, those minutes are being split between the two of them. And to me, if you make a trade and they want Javon Carter, cool, because guess what? That's going to open up those minutes to go back to Ayo. And with the way Ayo's playing, he's the future of your team. I'm not down on Javon.
Right.
The shooting has
Maybe
been
it's
very
bad.
mad suspect at times. But to me, Billy Donovan trying to maintain that 10 players deep because we brought in these veterans.
Right.
To me, at this point, Iowa's outplayed Javon Carter every step of the way.
We got
Get that man,
two super
get that
chats
man,
pinned
Yes,
in the messages. 2 super chats
Show
pinned.
my guys some love. Bro.
Me, I was telling you, C-Dub. Hey, it done. It done.
He
It done.
can't get his shot off. It's frustrating.
It's mainly because I'm gonna blame him. He was catching and shooting well. That's why we got in here. Now every time you get the ball, he doing the Zach shit, snapbacks.
Yeah, it's so weird. He was doing it in the preseason. Like, dude, that's
Yeah, calling the
not
ball
it.
head Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Hey, you
chat
can get
from
the super chat though.
Melvin
Melvin
Winman.
says, also, last thing that sealed Zach's fate is when he said he held a grudge against Billy for something that happened a year ago against the Magic game after going 1-14 from the field. He well, let's be clear here. Let's be clear in how we use our language. Zach didn't say he held a grudge. The media said that he never got over it. So let's be clear in our language there. But I will say this. If you still upset over being benched a year and a half ago, bro, what we doing?
That's the most light-skinned thing he can do.
I'm
Here's
with
the
y'all
other
on
super
that.
chat too.
DeMar had a bad game right after that, and he didn't get benched.
Yeah,
the
he
same
didn't
way.
get benched. That's fine.
That's true too, but
that's true.
Yeah.
Dan Miles says, "What you think? Levine trades from Lakers, Reeves, Vando, Roy, and you're not
Yeah,
getting all
hell
that.
no.
This is a 2K
That's their
trade.
whole team.
I'm sorry,
Dude,
I love you.
he
I
went.
love you,
That's
Dan.
their
You're
whole
always here
team
supporting.
too.
But one thing we don't do is 2K type. That's a 2K.
That is
trade. It's not
literally-
real.
Yeah, the
Bro,
Spurs
you're
is
not getting all that.
everybody starting except Wemby.
That's a package you get back if Zach LaVine won an MVP,
Right?
and that didn't happen.
Bro, y'all.
He ain't even made an All NBA
Hey,
team.
hey,
Like, come on, bro.
2
Let's
years
chill on
ago,
this.
2 years ago, what was Malik Monk commanding on the market? What did he sign for with the Kings?
Not for what he going
Not
for.
for what he
this
got.
Kid, this
I mean,
kid.
Jesus, I
If I'm
really
not
wanted him.
if I'm not mistaken, I think it was around the Lonzo contract, like 80.
Man, I wanted Malik Monk, bro.
It was either 80 or a little bit above 80.
Say what up.
Shorty.
What up?
What up?
But yeah, you just traded for that's their whole trade deadline move. You just traded for all that.
Everybody, yeah.
That saved Rob Pelinka's job. Hell no.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Can you imagine giving up all that for Zach LaVine?
Nah.
Hey,
just say you want to get fired. Just resign, my
think-
guy. Like,
hey,
that's all you got to do.
You think they hate AD now?
Listen,
Shit.
imagine AD and Zach on the same squad. I think Zach would thrive. First of all, let me say this.
He gonna turn pale.
Zach would thrive. Zach would thrive in the LeBron James offense. I don't care what you're talking about. Zach would thrive.
I mean,
why you say so? Why you say so though? Why?
Because it's catch and shoot.
Yeah, Zach better at that. Zach way better.
And LeBron is gonna tell Zach, "No, just come off this catch and shoot." And Zach would trust that. Like LeBron would look at Zach and be like, "I got you. Just keep running off screens and pin downs. I got you."
Or serious, he would thrive in the LeBron offense.
I believe that because at the same time, he gonna get in. He gonna do the same thing. Patrick, shoot.
Yep.
But shoot what I tell you to shoot. Don't just be out there shooting because you can. It's when and where. And that's the thing. I think that was the biggest thing of why Zach won't never take that next level. He don't understand when and where to do things.
Hey, did Michael Redd made it to the All-Star team before, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day with
Yeah,
Bucky.
yeah. I think he's a 2-time All-Star, right?
Debo, that's Kobe White's ceiling. I think Kobe White's ceiling is
Michael Redd?
no,
Come
no. I'm
on,
talking
Redd?
about.
Come on.
Can y'all listen to me real quick?
He talking
I'm
about the outlook of his career.
Exactly. I'm talking about he can sneak into a couple of All-Star games if he plays to his true potential. He could be a 2 or 3 time All-Star. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's compared to Michael Redd.
Hey,
Jesus
Michael
Christ.
Redd gave us fucking problems.
He did. He gave a lot of people problems.
No, y'all remember that time Kurt Heinrich elbowed the shit out of Michael Redd coming into the
Did
ring?
he have a big ass mask
That's
on?
when I realized I was like, "Hey, Kirk different,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Kirk
yeah.
different, bro. Like,
Hey, you gotta be different playing for Kansas at the time. Kansas was no joke. They coach was no joke at that time.
Yeah.
Straight out.
Kirk was borderline. Kirk. I wonder if we would look at Kirk as a dirty player if he didn't play for us, because
Oh, we
Kirk
would've
used to do
hated
some
him.
shit, bro.
We would have hated
Kirk
Kirk.
used to do some shit and it'd be like, hey,
Yeah,
man. And he used to
yeah.
get away with it because he was so smooth with it on top of that. Like,
Well, I see
Hey,
his
Kirk is an
elbow. I
all-time
forget.
great Chicago Bull, and I was
I-
salty when they traded him
Facts.
to try to get the D Wade
We traded him
decision
twice.
summer. No, the first time we
Bro.
traded him though was just so that we could try to get Wade, Bosh, or Braun.
That pissed
I'll
me
never forget him for that.
I thought we just moved
Right,
him for
right.
Derrick Rose was for the takeover.
Nah, they
no,
moved him to
no,
try-
because remember,
Nah.
Kirk Heinrich changed his body completely so he could play shooting guard next
Yep.
to Derrick Rose. He had like 10 or 15
Right.
pounds of muscle in one
Well, he
offseason.
came back looking like Thor.
Bro.
Damn.
He looked like what's the damn dude's
He
name?
looked like
the
the
dude
1, 2,
used to be in
3
High School
kid.
Musical. He's playing one
Troy
of the Von
Bolton.
Erichs in the rest.
Troy Bolton.
Zac Efron. How Zac Efron looking at Von Erich movie? That's how Kirk came back afterwards.
Hey, Evon, he
Got
look
that
weird.
trailer
He
park strength.
I don't know if he was that damn big. I don't know.
No, I'm exaggerating. I'm exaggerating.
Efron
Bob
got it.
Eric, some motherfuckers was on
Maybe High
other
School
shit.
Musical
that's
Zac
funny.
Efron.
Bro.
That's funny. Let's get up out of here though. Anything left, man, before we go?
Hey
Nah, this
man,
was fun.
great
We gotta do this more
conversation,
often.
man. Great conversation.
For real.
At the show, y'all, we don't agree on everything. Y'all, I seen y'all comments talking about we agree on everything. We don't agree on everything.
Nah.
Me and Steve will look at shit very similar and still come out with different outcomes. That's why that's my little brother. And don't ever think because we come at each other. This is all basketball
Bro, it
comedy.
ain't
This is
that
all
deep.
it
We
is. It's
all
love.
brothers.
Trying to
like-
tell you, it ain't that deep for real.
Listen,
It's not that deep.
They,
Like,
listen,
it's
if
really
y'all
not
ever
that
watch
deep.
a live call with the Cognac Boys,
Me and
y'all
Ken-
gonna hear
yeah.
all types
Which
of.
you know what? I don't fuck with the Cognac Boys anymore. I don't even know who they are because I ain't been invited on not one live call yet.
Bro, we
You ain't
been
gotta
the
be
whole
invited.
live
It's an
in.
open invitation. All you gotta do is press the button.
That's why I
Hey,
be
Steve,
Whole
password.
login. Hey,
The password to shit. Fuck y'all,
All
man.
right, y'all, he got a point. He got a point. Y'all did give me the password. I ain't gonna lie.
Bro,
Oh, we gotta get this man a
half the
password.
time
He
we don't
gotta
even know
ask to
who's
be on
showing
the
up. Me and
Cognac.
Steve
Come on,
Dub
stop
just
it.
be in there like, oh shit, who's showing up
Listen,
today?
Steve said one time, "Oh yeah, I'm setting up the live." I'm like, "Where?" I look at Reach. I'm like, "Oh, this nigga got the Kanye Boys password. I ain't even get the password. Ain't that some shit?" Bet.
Hey, we
Hey,
definitely got to
Bet.
look for an episode.
Come
but
on,
we
y'all know
argue
bro
on
get
there
on there
too
whenever he
during
wanna
the
get on
live
there.
call.
No, I know. I see how the Cognac Boys do. I had to fight for my rents on the Cognac Boys YouTube page. I had to complain about that.
You just gotta.
I
Do
ain't
we
got
have
no
our rent?
Wait a minute,
passwords.
you got a
And then
wrench?
we break bread together every month, and I ain't got no
You
passwords.
gotta do.
That's crazy.
You gotta
you got
do
a
what I
wrench?
do. You
I
gotta do
still
what
ain't
I
got no
do.
T-shirt. I've been waiting for that T-shirt for like 2 years.
Oh, bro, I asked. They said Bobby said he was sending me a T-shirt a year ago.
Hey,
Hey,
Bobby.
I've been
Maybe
Hey,
he
waiting
said
longer.
you can. Hey,
be in the
I had
middle.
I've been
I'm like,
waiting
damn,
longer.
nigga, shipping
You
and
can
handling
see-
is wild in
you can see how
2023.
worn
my
out
guy.
Bobby's
even-
shirt right now is. That's how long.
Bro,
he
I
been.
even told them that I would pay for the T-shirt. They was like, "Nah, bro, we got you. It's on the way."
I got a lot
Crazy,
on my
bro.
mind. My dog just died. Sorry, guys.
Oh, rest
Oh,
in
I'm
peace
sorry to
to
hear
the
that.
dude. You know he
I'm
went
sorry
to
hear
heaven,
that, man.
but the dog died this week, not 6 months ago.
I ain't gonna lie. Y'all ain't getting y'all shirt till Bobby shirt yellow.
Real
It,
talk.
hell
I
no,
ain't
it's
gonna lie.
gonna be a brand new shirt. You see it getting dingy, you goddamn.
Yeah, hey, that's what I'm saying. That's how long it been waiting. That buddy got dingy and everything. He'd have washed that blood
no.
12 times.
Hey, Ben 10
That's
just
wild.
said
We still
Kobe
ain't got no
ceiling-
wrench for the Chicago Bulls Central. I know that's a for sure.
That's facts. But listen,
That's not true.
We ain't got no wrench.
That's not true.
No.
hey, this dude right here just said this. Kobe ceiling is Dwayne Wade. Where? On
It's
what
time to
planet?
end up. It's time to end the live.
Yeah.
what
Did
planet?
you just see that drip? Yeah.
Punch your ass.
Hey,
He
go
just
ahead.
looked.
Hey, go ahead and give it to me too, Drip. I need that wrench too.
Which one? You sign into every time you come in the live, you under a different
Give
account.
it to all of them. Give it to all of them. You know it's gonna be.
everybody.
Do you see Shabu podcast?
You'll see Shabu's podcast. You'll see Chicago White Sox and Cubs Central. You'll see Kevin Albert. It's
Hey.
like, damn, nigga, you bipolar ass dude.
Hey,
Come
give
on,
it.
my
I
guy.
got ADHD. I be bouncing back and forth. You did.
Oh yeah, NBA Central. Like
Put
he
that
just
in there,
like he just
too.
be like, which one?
Hey,
I'm
he
gonna
like
sign
buddy
into?
that came into your shit with all them accounts, bro. He like you.
Oh, Shuttlesworth.
Shuttlesworth,
That's
oh, bro.
Shuttlesworth.
That
This motherfucker, Jesus Shuttlesworth, Kendrick Cutter Shuttlesworth, Jay
Hey, Noel Cook.
Bro, bogus as hell.
Nobody's saying do not compare him to a Hall of Famer. That's not what we're saying. They just don't play the same. Dwayne Wade was a defensive monster. He had 100 blocks in the season a couple of times. There's no way you can compare him to Kobe White, bro.
And he was barely 6'4".
You cannot compare him to Kobe White. He was getting
Damn, Kanye boys at it with the got that wrench. My
fault.
That's my fault.
And give me give me my wrench on Lock On Bulls too. Since we doing that,
Oh, it's blast.
you ain't got a wrench on Lock On Bulls. I got a wrench for everything else. You know what's sad? I got a wrench on when we see these Bulls breeze, and I ain't got one for Locked On. That's crazy.
Oh, Steve,
That's crazy, bro.
How
wild,
my
man.
boy Pat got me over my neck? That's
Y'all
crazy.
funny as hell.
See what had happened was
Life.
life be life.
Hey,
It
don't
is
it be
life,
lifing though?
Y'all crazy, man. But go ahead. Hey, y'all can follow them at the Shy Bulls podcast with the Kayak Boys. You can follow Steve-O on everything that's Shy Sports Central related and NBA Central. Kev's on Chicago White Sox and Cubs Central, NBA Central as well. Y'all make sure y'all go and support the team, man. And we'll be back as always. We need to start doing this more often. Maybe this needs to be a once a month thing, man.
It's
This
supposed
was
to be
fun.
a Sunday thing. We just never agreed on a schedule.
Yeah, that's true.
Y'all blame. Y'all be trying. We waiting on you. No, I'm ready for the show. Y'all gotta give me a time when y'all all here.
No,
We
we
can
waiting
do
on
this
you,
Sunday,
man. What is he
bro.
talking
If
about?
you haven't been
bro?
able to tell with this group, you have to build it and we will come. So say, hey, we going live at
That's
3
it.
and we will find a way
That
to
is
be
it.
there.
Okay, we doing it.
Because you start being like, what time y'all gonna be free? See,
Dog,
they're gonna be like, hey, I gotta eat some
Sunday.
coochie at 3 p.m. I gotta get food
Right.
at 6
Make
p.m.
sure I get that
and then
vagina in.
Hey, listen.
I gotta smoke some meat. I gotta
Right.
make soups, salads, and
Hey, that's
breadsticks.
me,
Looking ass
bro.
nigga. And then Bobby, we don't know what Bobby do when he's not online. Bobby just be everywhere, bro.
I didn't
Hey,
heard.
so
let me
I
tell
didn't
you
heard-
this
man,
though.
yeah,
That
busy
chicken
man.
soup was busting. What are you talking about?
I'm just.
That chicken
That's
soup did look
crazy.
fire,
How
bro.
you just say eating coochie and smoking meat at the same time?
Hey, yo.
Oh, I said, see, Dub was eating coochie, and I said, Kev was smoking
I
meat.
know.
I didn't say
No,
it at the
I
same
was
time.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's
was not-
insane.
Wild.
Not in that, not that type
He
of way.
said same damn time.
Bro, y'all smoking. Okay,
Hey,
yeah.
Kev know he be smoking that meat. We out